All right, the Padres, they knock off the Cardinals in game one of this series, 4-1. It was a fun one to watch. You had the Cardinals. I get it. It's not the Dodgers. It's not one of the best teams in baseball. This is a team that just sold off some of their best relievers, including Ryan Helsley, to the Mets. I get it. But to have Padres baseball back after the off day and, all the madness that happened yesterday with the deadline was great. And you got to see those new additions. Um, Mason Miller is the headline, obviously, because he came in the eighth inning. And what a luxury that is, right? You don't have to use Jason Adam today. You can use Mason Miller. You don't have to use Morhone. You don't have to use Estrada. Now, Pavetta, he was tremendous. Like, not every starting pitcher is going to do that every day. But when you have like Nick Pavetta's the ace. That's just what it is. When Nick Pivetta goes, that could be a night off for a lot of those relievers in this pen. So, love seeing that. And Mason Miller, I mean, I know that there's fans that are like, "Oh man, you gave up Leo DeVries for a guy that's not even your closer." But Mason Miller will close games this year. I do believe that because Robert Suarez is not going to pitch every time a save situation comes up because the Padres do have that ability, the luxury to not have to use Robert Suarez. You want Robert Suarez to be firing and ready to go come October because I do believe the Padres are going to be a postseason team. And it's not like Mason Miller is this step down from Robert Suarez. Some would say he should be the closer. I personally am not going to do that. I think that you should respect what Robert Suarez has done in a Padres uniform and let him play his way out of the role of being closer. If Mason Miller is dominant and he's throwing 103 and not giving up any runs, not allowing a bunch of base runners, and Suarez just can't find it, then that's when you can make a change and you can try something different. But if Robert Suarez is going to be great and keep leading the league in saves and doing his job, then I like having Mason Miller. You don't even have to use him just in the eighth inning, but use him in a lane where you've got the majority of the guys up in that next inning. They're righties, and he can go up there and throw that 103 mile per hour fastball, and it's has movement, and it's not going to be fun for those hitters. Using him there, like, because sometimes the save, and I've said this before, sometimes the save doesn't come in the ninth inning. Sometimes it comes in the seventh inning or the eighth inning, where you got. Now I'm just throwing these names out there, but let's say you've got Freddie, Mookie, and Will Smith up. Maybe that's not the exact order for the Dodgers, but like majority righties, maybe that's when the save is. And you just keep Robert Suarez where he's comfortable, he has his routine, and you bring in the new guy and have him be the flexible one. Not opposed to Mason Miller closing games. Again, like I said earlier, I think he's going to, but I'm totally fine with how it played out today, with them going with Suarez still as the closer and Mason Miller as the guy in the eighth inning. Again, it's not like Robert Suarez has been like really scuffling and it's like, oh, well, trade deadline came at a great time. Let's go get a closer. No, you're just adding to this. I know there was the talk about trading Robert Suarez, but I personally didn't want Robert Suarez to leave. I thought that build upon the strength. In the postseason, if you have the best bullpen among postseason teams, you're going to have one of the stronger shots of going on a deep run. And then obviously the offense that they added, Ramon Laureano, he ended up getting the start today. He was the one new guy that got the start today. And then Ryan O'Hearn came in as a pinch hitter. Some people weren't happy that Jose Iglesias was pinch hitting, or not pinch hitting, excuse me. He was DHing. But for me, like, I don't even know the full circumstances with that. When did Ryan O'Hearn get into San Diego? Was there medical stuff that needed to be cleared before he could be in the lineup? Maybe you just want someone that, has been with the Padres and he has his routine down and studying the opponent, and not a guy that just got off an airplane or a guy that just got into town, just got fitted for his uniform, just got a jersey, all these things that are flying at him. I know he still played in the game, but I just don't know what that timing looked like. So I'm just throwing that out there as maybe that's why. You know, maybe Ryan O'Hearn was like, yeah, I don't feel ready to start today's game, but you can throw me in there tomorrow. I don't know. Um, so I'm not going to like react too much about what we saw there. Same thing with Laureano. First game, these guys are going to improve the offense. They are. Nick Pivetta, tremendous. 7 innings, 1 run, no walks, 5 punchies. Gave up that 1 home run to Wilson Contreras. But Wilson Contreras helped the Padres. He was one of the MVPs of this game. I mean, that guy, what was he doing? Couldn't make the catch early in the game. This was the Padres, I think, first run. Yeah, first run they scored. And he goes to the wall there, the short wall by the dugout to get the ball, then throws it over to third. But did he not realize how long the throw was? I don't know. He almost nailed his pitcher in the head, almost killed the guy. And there were 3 Cardinals guys that the ball got past. The pitcher, I think the third baseman, and then it was the shortstop, Scott, excuse me, who ran over there and was he was running over there and like had to react to it. And it's not like he was set, but it got past 2 guys that were set. Now, one of the guys was probably not expecting the ball to come right at him, which was the pitcher. But that was funny. And then there was another mistake that he made later in the game. Not a fan of Wilson Contreras. Not a fan. But yeah, if you're the Padres, you're going to take it. And then Jackson Merrill, someone that has had some sophomore slumps this year. I was reluctant to say that early on in the season. I was like, tough stretch. He'll bounce back from it. But there has been some struggles. But for him to come through today, bases loaded situation like that, and to bring in a couple runs, I'm not saying his confidence wasn't high already, but I think that's a great thing coming after the deadline. We're in August now. Like, we are going. And for him to come through like that, just, I don't know, other than just, it's great. And it makes me smile. Big Jackson Merrill fan. So almost 45,000 showed up tonight. 2 hours and 8 minutes, a really quick baseball game. And that'll happen when you've got Pavetta going 7 innings and giving up just 1 run. Again, that guy, he is the ace of this Padres rotation. Even with Michael King coming back, Nick Pivetta is the ace of this rotation at the moment. Could have 2 co-aces. We'll see what happens with Darvish. Obviously, great outing day before the deadline. But right now, it's Nick Pivetta. And what a pickup. That's another one of those where it's like, give props to the Padres, to ownership for like allowing that money to be committed. Because I know there's not much money being paid to Pivetta this year, but it's in the years after. So the creativity of that, like props to AJ, props to whoever thought of that, and then ownership allowing that to happen. Because when that was made, it was like, maybe like a solid back end guy, but it was good. Needed starting pitching. But for him and Ruben and Ben Fritz and whoever has helped work with Nick Pivetta, and then Pivetta obviously himself putting in the work, just another one of those like great signings. I know Gavin Sheets, like that was minor league deal. This was not the money that Pivetta was given, right? But I compare those two because one on the pitching side, one on the hitting side, 2 guys that you heard of before, but didn't quite know what they were going to bring to this Padres team. I had higher expectations, obviously, for Pivetta than like Gavin Sheets, but just didn't totally know. And it has been amazing to watch Nick Pivetta. And like right from the beginning, I was like, yeah, Nick Pivetta, he is the Joe Musgrove mentality, emotional replacement in this rotation this year. To have both of them back in the future, like that would be sick. Just dogs out there. So yeah, and Pavetta's not going to take any crap, as we have seen. Love having him on this team. Really love having him on this team. Kind of compare him to Max Scherzer with like the fire that he has, but a better Max Scherzer right now. Obviously, Scherzer is a Hall of Famer, but I'm talking about right now. That's what I've got. Any thoughts? Obviously, leave them in the comments. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, appreciate you as well. And yeah, have a great night. We got game 2 tomorrow. It's a later one. I think 7:10 instead of 5:40. And then the day game for the series finale. Michael King, by the way, that was news. He's going to have a rehab start this weekend. So he's getting closer as well. Things are starting to take shape. Oh, I forgot to mention the transactions that were made today by the Padres because they needed some roster room, obviously, today and yesterday. I may have mentioned some of them yesterday, but Marchi Maldonado DFA'd yesterday. Trenton Brooks DFA'd. Not a surprise there. They had to add Freddie Fermin, who did not appear in this game today, but could totally see him in there tomorrow. And then activated Ryan O'Hearn, obviously, activated Mason Miller, activated Freddie Fermin, activated JP Sears, which I guess they had to, right? Technically, when they acquire him, but he's not going to be used until when? Whenever he ends up starting, right? I don't think he's starting tomorrow. Is it Vasquez? Who's starting tomorrow? Sorry, I'm looking that up right now. Yeah, Vasquez. And then Cease on Sunday. So, like, yeah, they're not going to have to use JP Sears until the D-back series coming up. But he's activated. Laureano activated. Ron Marinaccio was optioned, which was expected, obviously. Last man in the bullpen. Mason Miller, got to make room. As for DFAing Tyler Wade, not gonna lie, that was a little bit surprising. Just because the versatility that he has, he is loved obviously by Mike Schilt and by like everyone in that clubhouse. It seems like Nestor Cortez, by the way, he is still on the IL. But yeah, looking at what the bench is now, they picked Iglesias obviously over Tyler Wade. Had to make room for Laureano. They kept Bryce Johnson. That was the decision. It was Bryce Johnson or Tyler Wade. Bryce Johnson has actually been hitting pretty well, and he has speed. He can play defense, outfield. They have infield options. They have Iglesias that they can have in there. O'Hearn's another one that can play first. Sheets as well. Like there are some options there. So there wasn't as much of a need to keep Tyler Wade. And they may think that he'll pass through and they can have him in El Paso. And that's not the end of the world either. So I did want to at least mention that before ending this video.